Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name's Christina and on my channel we talk all things beauty, and today we are going to be talking about a bunch of brand new releases and all my thoughts on them. I have personally used all of these products, some longer than others, but nevertheless we are going to be talking about what I think about them and if these are products that I think you should pick up. These are things that have released within the last, I want to say like 2-ish months or so. Firstly, I want to talk about the brand new Dior releases. They came out with more of their rosy blushes as well as their lip oils, and I picked up one of them out of the brand new shades that they came out with. This is the one in Bronzed Glow. They did come out with a lip oil like I mentioned, however I only picked up the blush here, and I am considering getting the lip oil just because it looks like it's going to be a more muted, more nude version of Mahogany, and I really like the shade Mahogany, but that one does tend to pull a little bit more deeper red on me. So as you can see, this is a very deep blush. This to me, when I first saw it, kind of looked more like a bronzer, like a blush bronzer hybrid, and whenever I swatched it in store, I don't know if it's because that specific one was opened for a long amount of time, but it did tend to like feel like it had a hard pan already, so I went into it a little bit more hesitant with the swatch of the tester, and I will say that this applies better on the skin than it actually swatches. For me, I feel like this gives me kind of like a burnt blush look. Like it definitely gives me the illusion of I was out in the sun and I got really tan, but also slightly like sunburnt type of thing in the best way possible. I know whenever people describe things like sunburnt, it doesn't, at least for me, doesn't really make me want to get it, but for some reason this one I feel like is like an elevated bronze sunburnt look on my skin. It does have this gold sheen throughout it, and you can really see it strongly whenever you swatch it, like on the back of your hand or something like that. But when you actually apply it to the skin, at least for me, as someone that has more of a medium skin tone, it sort of acts like a slight sheen. Like it doesn't come off gold at all. It almost seems like there's a built-in slight highlight within this blush, and I personally really like that finish. I feel like if this didn't have that sheen to it, it would kind of come off a little bit chalky. I feel like these blushes are pressed a little bit harder. I know that these blushes are very polarizing for a lot of people. You either love them or you hate them, and that price point serves as a really big determining factor for a lot of us. $40 for this small blush is not cheap, but I think the fact that this is pressed a little bit harder lends to it having to be built up a little bit on the skin, and when it comes to a more intense color like this, I think that's probably for the best because it allows you to put a wash of the color on the skin before going in with more and more and more and building it up to what you like. For me, I really like this. I'm glad that I picked this up, but would I repurchase it? I don't know yet. I've only had this for about a week now, and I've used it a handful of times, maybe 3 or 4 times on the skin. It's looked beautiful every single time, but I would totally understand if this doesn't like call to you. I finally got my hands on one of the new Kosas Blush is Life baked blushes. This is in the shade Dreamland, and this is the one that specifically called out to me. This one is described as a rosy bronze, but unlike the Dior one, this one has a lot more pink kind of strewn within that baked formula. I think that the way that this applies makes it really, really beautiful because of that baked formulation. It does pick up a little bit less pigmentation whenever you use your brush in here, and as you're kind of dusting it onto the skin, it dusts on very lightly when it comes to the pigment, but you get a lot of this satiny sheen like finish to the skin, and unlike the Dior one that has like visible flecks of glitter or like sheen, metallic sheen to it, you know, this doesn't have that from what I can tell. It seems like it's just a powder, but I think honestly the way that it's baked gives it a little bit more of a skin-like finish. And I saw someone's video talking about these, and they said that it was giving Laura Geller baked blush vibes, and I 100% agree with that. I remember having that a long time ago and really liking this, but the Kosas one I feel like is a little bit more refined in the sense that it goes on slightly more even because it does give you a very slight wash of color. And I was debating on the shade Hype. That one seems to be a little bit more pinky. I may pick it up at some point, but I'm very happy with this one so far. It does pool slightly purpley on me, but the majority of the look on my skin does look pink, which is what I wanted. I wouldn't mind if they made the cap a little bit less tall, you know. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna travel. I bought this when I was in LA and I actually had it in my purse on my way home because I didn't want to risk putting it in my check-in bag because I had a feeling that because of the way that this is pressed, it would probably shatter. So I want to throw in a fragrance that I have been using. I talked about purchasing this in my purchaser pass, my most recent one. This is the Ouai hair and body mist in the scent St. Barts. This is a mist versus being a perfume. And you guys, this is such a beautiful tropical summer scent. I love this because it is still very tropical, but without it smelling anything like a sunscreen or like pina colada, which I feel like are signature like summer scents, you know, for a lot of brands. They kind of like veer in that direction. But there's something super clean about this that still gives it like that tropical feel. It says that this has notes of dragon fruit, tuberose, musk, and orange blossom. And I am such a sucker for a musk fragrance. Like anything that has musk in it, I am likely to really enjoy because I feel like it just dries down and it's a little bit more warm and skin-like. And I love a good skin scent. This on Sephora is categorized to be a fresh solar. And there's been quite a few fragrances actually that I've enjoyed that are described as fresh solars. It stays smelling on your clothes and your hair for so long. I have sprayed this onto myself and the next day I can still smell it on my clothes. And I think that this just gives the hair such a beautiful, like fresh, clean scent without it smelling too sweet, you know? And personally, you guys know that when it comes to fragrances, if it's too strong, I tend to get a headache. But because mists are a little bit less potent than like a regular perfume is, this one doesn't bother me at all. I can spray a ton of this and I'm totally fine. This smells incredible. I am going to be wearing this all throughout the summertime. Next up, we have the Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Multi-Use Bronzing and Shaping Serum. I'm sure that you guys have seen this all over your feeds. And this is supposed to be a very lightweight, very subtle type of bronze on the skin. The best way for me to explain what this is basically a liquid version of his Soft Sculpt Enhancer, the one that comes in the cream like jar, you know, my like holy grail. But I would say that this one is a step down in pigmentation from that. I definitely think this has a lot less coverage, but the thing that I think is really interesting about this is when you first put it on, you're probably going to be like, I don't really see much happening, you know, like I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to do on my skin. And that is how I felt whenever I was using this with the doe foot applicator. I was doing little dots. I also would like swipe it in areas and I was kind of like, I'm not really seeing much out of it. But when I started to use the pump, like I would do one full pump on my whole face, I got really beautiful bronziness out of this. It is extremely lightweight, and when you're putting it on the skin, it kind of feels like a cold like serum, you know, and you can blend it out and stuff, but I feel like this one dries down a lot better than the Soft Sculpt Enhancer in the jar. If you don't like a cream product because of the way that it can feel, for lack of a better term, like greasy or tacky on the skin, this may be a good answer to that issue because you can still get that same blend, that same seamless skin-like finish on the skin, but this actually dries down really, really nicely. It truly feels like a skincare serum, but bronze. I wouldn't say that this is anything like bronzing drops. That's kind of like what I thought that it might be like, but this definitely has more of a serum consistency and not as much pigment as bronzing drops in general. I feel like sometimes those are more pigment and less serum-y like slip to it. So you're kind of more prone to streaking using bronzing drops versus something like this that like swipes it onto the skin evenly. This really grew on me, and I really enjoy this to just bring the face kind of back to life. This actually showed up on my doorstep literally today, so I decided I would go ahead and try it because we didn't have any sort of foundation to talk about today. These are the It Cosmetics CC Plus Natural Matte CC creams. This has an SPF of 40. They sent me medium tan and neutral medium. I actually didn't know that these were coming, and I was looking at this and I could have sworn that It Cosmetics already had a matte CC cream. Did they not? I feel like I remember them having it and then they pulled it and they reformulated, and maybe this is the reformulation. You guys let me know in the comments down below. But like I've mentioned in past videos, the It Cosmetics CC creams were kind of like my go-to recommendation whenever I worked at Ulta for a lot of people that came in asking for help when it came to foundations, because a lot of people wanted like that natural finish without something feeling heavy, but they wanted really good coverage, and added skincare benefits were always a plus. So I was like, this is perfect for that, because I feel like you can really customize how much coverage you get out of these. And while they are a thicker and creamier type of formulation, they do dry down really nicely. And talking now about this specific formula, this CC Matte, maybe I want to say 5-ish years ago, maybe 6 years ago now, when I first tried like the matte one that I remember it sitting kind of funny on my skin, and it really broke up on my chin specifically, and I wasn't a fan because I felt like there was way too much powder within that formulation. But when I applied this today, I went in with my brush and I really pushed it into that brush, got a lot of product in there, and then I started to kind of swirl it onto the skin. And the way that this kind of covered my skin and added that coverage, it still looked like it had a little bit of luminosity to it. Like, I didn't feel like there was too much powder in this one. I definitely feel like it blended in really nicely. It doesn't seem to have like separated anywhere on my skin, and I think that the coverage on it is so good. If this didn't say that it was a natural matte, I probably would still categorize this as like a satin velvet matte type of look, because I felt like my skin still looked really healthy and hydrated. You guys know that I don't really like going in right off the bat with a matte foundation. I would much prefer to go in with hydrating products and then mattify it with a powder later on. But honestly, I feel like this worked really nicely, and it didn't make me feel like my skin was dying for hydration, you know? And even when I powdered it down, it looks really good. And I've had this on the skin for about like 3 hours now or so, and I feel like I'm still at a really good place. I definitely do see my oils coming through a little bit, but it's not as bad as it could be around this time like of wearing a foundation. So now the Saie Dew Bronze, I did a little short TikTok on this, and right off the bat, I just want to tell you guys that I really like this. I am obsessed with their gel cream formula. I'm absolutely in love with their blushes, and it has the same exact formula as these bronzers, which I'm so happy about. These are super easy to blend. I like to put this on the back of my hand to begin, and then I'll use my brush on the back of my hand and then apply it on my skin. I feel like that the transfer of product there is really nice. On their website, I think this is described as a warm undertone, but then on Sephora, it's described as a neutral undertone. I have the shade Swim. I'm not quite sure. For me, I feel like the wear time on this is really good. It could be because usually with my cream and liquid products, I do use powder counterpart to them. So I use like a powder bronzer, powder blush, and stuff like that on top. I don't know if that's why, but I also have used this with just setting it with powder and setting spray, and it pretty much lasts the entire time that I have my makeup on. Like, I don't see this fading whatsoever. When I saw everyone talking about this, I knew I had to get my hands on it. This is the RMS Hydra Bronzer in the shade Bikini Beach. I was between a couple shades, but I went into a Blue Mercury store and swatched them, and I determined that Bikini Beach was going to be the best one for me. And this is so interesting to me, guys. This has like a gel powder consistency to it. I don't know if I've ever felt a bronzer quite like this one. And the reason why I feel like this has a very interesting formula is because of that gel-like texture to it, and you get virtually no fallout. Whether you use your finger in here or you use a brush to like swipe all around, there's no fallout. You get a good amount of pigmentation there, but it's always like really even pigmentation. When you take your brush in there and you like swirl it all over your face, it deposits a very light amount of pigmentation to where I feel like this could be categorized as something that is medium buildable coverage, and you're able to get a very sheer amount of color on there and then just continue to build up with layers. So this is really good if you tend to go really ham with your bronzers, you know, and maybe you go like overboard more often than you want to. This would be a really good product if you still want to go in with a lot and get a good amount of bronze, but you want to make sure that you can build it up versus going in with too much pigmentation that you later have to like blend out. I love that this has a slight sheen to it. Like you can see it in the pan right there. It almost has this like metallic finish to it, but the way that it translates on the skin, it honestly just looks like you have very like glassy skin. Because that CC cream was slightly more pale than like my forehead, I used a lot of this bronzer on my forehead, and honestly I feel like it kind of brought my skin back to life the same way that the Makeup by Mario bronzing serum does. This like adds such natural bronze to the skin. So if you're looking for something that's going to be like bam in your face type of bronzer, this may not be the one for you. I don't think I have any other powder bronzer in my collection that gives me quite this much control of how much pigmentation I put on the skin. And because it does have that sheen in it, it doesn't matter how much you put, your skin still looks very natural and glowy. I do think it's pretty expensive for what it is. It's $35, and from what I can tell from the back of it, it seems like this is a refillable compact, so I'm assuming that if you refilled this, it's going to be a little cheaper than that. But initially, if you're purchasing this, $35 I feel like is pretty pricey. Now for me, I think it is worth it just because that finish is just so different from anything that I have, and I can really see myself using this very often, not only on the face, but I think that this would be such a beautiful color on the eyes. If you have an opportunity to try these out and swatch them before purchasing them, I highly recommend doing that. Now we have the Charlotte Tilbury Plumpgasm, and this one has actually been out a lot longer than the other products that we've already talked about. And the reason why I'm talking about it in this video is because I was so torn about how I felt about this for such a long time, and to be honest, I'm still kind of torn. This is also $35, and I just feel like that's very expensive. This definitely gives you that same spicy plumping feeling, almost to the extent where I like didn't really want to wear this often. The color is beautiful. I have it on right now. You can kind of build it up to where it has a little bit more pigmentation here, but like I said, this does have that spicy feeling to it. And if you know me, you know that I love a minty plumper opposed to a more spicy plumper. I really like the color of this one though, and I do feel like it softens my lip lines and kind of plumps up my lips. It gives me the illusion of plumping even if it doesn't actually necessarily plump my lips. It feels like a very thick liquid lip balm almost. Like it doesn't feel like a gloss whatsoever. I would say it's a melted down lip balm lipstick formula. Slightly more flexible applicator. It kind of goes back and forth side to side pretty easily. I like that it has this diamond tip because I feel like it allows me to draw on the outsides and the tips really easily, and you feel the plumping almost instantly. I like this color. It's a nice milky pink on me without washing me out, and we'll wait like 5-ish minutes to see what the lips look like. All right, this is about 7 minutes later. Do we see a difference in the plumpness? I'm not sure. I kind of feel like my upper lip on the sides look a little more plump, but I could be wrong. We will see with the before and afters right here. I'll show you guys like a little comparison of them. It definitely still feels spicy. These stay feeling spicy for quite a long time. And for me, like I've mentioned in the past, when it comes to a lip plumper, I much prefer a minty plumper versus a spicy one. But I do think that the spicy ones actually make a huge difference in on the plumpness of my lips. So I do think they're more effective, but for a day-to-day, everyday type of wear, I prefer a minty one. I do really like how it fills in my lip lines though. I feel like my lips do give the illusion of being more plump because of that glossy finish and the way that it fills in those lip lines. I just feel like my lips look like they're not as deflated because of that. You know what I mean? I wish that they sold this without the plumping aspect of it, just because I feel like I would wear this very, very often. I think that as time goes on, I am going to kind of reach for this a little bit more than I have been. The plumping isn't painful, but you definitely can feel it for at least like 10 minutes of wearing it. So Lawless sent over their brand new cream blushes. I got this the other day and I had to try this out. I'm doing a short video on this as like my first impression type of thing, but these are supposed to be sort of like a cream to powder finish. It's supposed to give you a very blurred like look, which I thought was really interesting coming from a cream product. I'm very versed in my cream products. I love them even though I have oily skin. They usually leave me with a very hydrated finish, kind of like a shiny finish, you know, but these actually really surprised me because whenever I applied these, they almost instantaneously dried down to where it looked more like a powder than it did a cream. The pigmentation on these is very nice because again, it's kind of more of that buildable pigmentation. I find with creams, it's a lot easier to blend them out versus like a powder. And while these colors can look like very, very bright, I find that whenever I put it on the skin, it sort of like melts down and they're super wearable and very flattering if I do say so myself. I really like the shade Starburst. In the pan, I would think that this would kind of like wash me out. It would be a little bit too much peach for my liking, but when it goes onto the skin, it kind of just like brightens up my skin a little bit with adding a slight amount of peach. But for some reason, this one kind of translates a little bit more pinky peach on me. And I like that they're all buildable as well. So these I'm very excited about. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the Anastasia beauty bombs. These are interesting to me. I think that a lot of people kind of assumed that these were going to be sort of like a foundation stick and misjudged it, or at least prejudged it. For me, I did the same thing. So these are supposed to be a beauty balm, more like a BB cream, a CC cream type of thing. So I have the shade number 11 and this one actually matches me pretty well. And because these have more of a sheer coverage, the shades are a lot more flexible than if you were to get like a true foundation stick. This has a lot of skincare ingredients in it. So whenever you put this on the skin, it feels exactly like a balm, which is what it's called. I think this is really great for evening out your skin tone and kind of like hiding a little bit of your acne if you're struggling with that at the moment, which I feel like it worked really well for me. However, I feel like this is best for your no makeup days. Not no makeup, but no makeup days. Like when you don't want to go in and put anything on, but maybe you want to just like even out your skin a little bit. I think this is a good alternative to like a tinted sunscreen or a tinted moisturizer type of thing. This I think works really well as a standalone product because it doesn't seem to want to mesh with any of like my powders or anything like that. Like it doesn't set down with powder in my opinion. I like to apply this on days when I'm not going to wear makeup, but I still want my skin to look even and I'm craving that just did my skincare look. This is going to give you hydration and shine like you have glass like skin, you know, but don't expect this to replace your foundation or anything like that. The Iris and Romeo Lash Up Peptide Thickening Mascara. The first thing I thought when I took this out of the packaging, I was like, this is a heavy mascara. Like this is definitely a hefty mascara. And when you open this up, you can see that it has that bigger brush and it has a curve like I typically like. But I will say that the brush itself and the bristles are a lot longer and a lot bigger than what I normally go for. So for me, as someone that does have smaller eyes, this is a little bit harder to work with. However, this formulation is really nice. I like the way that this darkens up my lashes, and it seems to really give me enough volume without ever making my lashes look clumpy. Like with all of my mascaras that are not waterproof, I do have to use like a priming type of mascara underneath this. So today I used the Sephora Love the Lift waterproof mascara. A lot of times I will use my Hair and Make Advanced Film mascara. Any Asian mascaras honestly work really well to hold my curl, and I find that this one works so well on top. And I find with a lot of mascaras, even if I use them with like a priming mascara, my lashes will still tend to droop because the formulation is just like too heavy. This one doesn't do that. I have it on right now, and I feel like it really holds the curl well. And while I would assume that a mascara like this with a thicker brush and like, I don't know, kind of like a slightly dry formulation would like make my lashes droop because it'd be too heavy, it's fine. Like, it looks good. And I actually feel like my lashes do give the illusion of being thicker. I feel like it adds a good coat of mascara on each lash, you know? And I don't know, I just really like this. I was surprised by how much I enjoy this. It's a really good one. Okay, again, right before I sat down to film this video, I did get a package from Armani. These are the new Luminous Silk Cheek Tints. I have 3 shades right here, and I'll insert a clip of me using these for you guys. And it's definitely gonna be a first impression because, like I said, I already had my makeup done and I just wanted to use it and include it in this video. So I'm gonna show you guys that right now. I'm too lazy to take my makeup off and put this on, so let's just put this right on top. I'm gonna do a short video talking about this and reviewing it anyways, so look out for that. This one I'm gonna use is in number 62, and it is called Delicate Mauve. Let's do a little on the back of the hand. Ooh, pigmented. Whoa, that's super pigmented. I didn't expect it to be as pigmented as it is. I don't know why. I think the pigmentation is similar to the Rare Beauty one, but I would say that this is slightly less pigmented because I'm able to like kind of control it a little bit more. Holy moly. Try to tone it down with some of my foundation. Oh my gosh, that color is beautiful though. It's kind of coming off as a darker pink on me, which I prefer because, like I said, I want something a little more pink than purple. And when I see mauve, I think purple automatically. Dang, that's nice. It feels like, or it kind of looks like it like set down by itself. Like, I'm not getting any intense shine from it. Like, it's still drying down, you know what I mean? The sheen that it's giving, I think, is how it's going to like finish on the skin. It's going to be a very similar formulation to the Rare Beauty one in the sense that it's more of a creamy liquid versus like a gel cream liquid, you know what I mean? As much pigmentation as you see on the back of your hand is going to be what actually transfers onto the face. Oh my gosh. That's really nice. I really like that. As you can see, super, super pigmented. I am kind of shocked at how pigmented these are. I don't know why, but I just kind of assumed that this was going to be more of a gel cream. Like when I swatched it on the back of my hand, I was kind of like, okay, it's more sheer, it's more gel-like, but when you blend it onto the skin, that pigmentation is there. Like, I'm really excited to see what this peach color is gonna look like on me. Ooh, that's beautiful. That looks like it would be a really nice lip color too. So this is Dusty Mauve, Rosy Peach, and Intense Berry. And I'm just so excited to try this out. Check out my Instagram and my YouTube. I will be swatching all of these on my cheeks so you guys can see them and kind of like give you a more in-depth review on them. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about a couple of like shower products that are new. So firstly, the Necessaire body washes. They came out with new scents. They came out with Santal, Olibanum / Vanille, and Hinoki. And they sent me the Olibanum, and this smells so good. Oh, it smells so good. They sent me this one and the eucalyptus, which I've tried the eucalyptus one, and I really enjoy that one for a fresh minty like scent. It's just such a beautiful, clean, minty fragrance that's perfect in the shower. And this one is described as being a fig leaf and olibanum scent. I'm not sure what that is, but on the listing it also says vanille, which I can smell a little bit of that sweeter vanilla scent. Like, it's a warm scent. It's nothing that I think is too feminine. My husband and I have both been using this, and honestly, this gives me more of a masculine scent without being too much. And I love the way that this smells in the shower. Oh my gosh, the way that this warms up on the skin is so lovely. It doesn't linger though, which I kind of wish that it lingered on the skin a little bit, because it is more of that very soft, sweet, earthy type of scent. And if you've never tried the Necessaire body washes, they're incredible. They're a gel texture. They lather really, really well, especially if you like a good body wash that lathers up. This does. My skin never feels stripped when I use this, and I just love their open and close system on their products. It's just so nice. I have so much Necessaire in my shower now, including their Rosemary shampoo and conditioner. I've been using this ever since they sent this to me. I want to say 2 months or so ago. Both my husband and I, again, have been using this, and it is so good. I feel like the health of my hair has dramatically improved, and I honestly didn't feel like my hair was unhealthy before, you know, but I feel like my hair is even stronger now. I have yet to come across a shampoo and conditioner this year that I'm like, I want to repurchase that. To be honest with you guys, I have just been jumping from one shampoo and conditioner to another this year, and a lot of last year, just based on like what I've been sent, you know. But these, when I got these, I was like, yeah, I'll try it out. And I've tried them, I've used them, and I love them enough to the point where I was a little freaked out that it was out of stock on their website for so long, as well as on Sephora, but they restocked it now. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can purchase new ones. I don't think the scent is for everyone. When I first started using it, I was kind of like, this smells like mosquito repellent, like a citronella candle to me, you know, like the ones that you put out when you're going camping or something like that. But I do think that I'm getting more of that rosemary the more I use it. It's a little bit more like earthy. So if you don't like that scent, if you like something different, more sweet or florally with your shampoo and conditioner, may not be the ones for you. I love the way that this lathers on the hair. I feel like I get a really, really good clean. I double cleanse with my shampoo before going in with my conditioner, and I just feel like my scalp is so much more light, and I feel like it really, really like gets in there and completely detoxifies my scalp. And I could be wrong, but I feel like my hair now holds volume for a lot longer than it did before. Like before, I'd wash my hair, and I typically shower at night, so I'll wash my hair, and then in like a day or so my hair lays flat. But with this, I feel like I actually see volume in my hair. Like I can actually feel where my hair is like poking up more before it like falls down, you know. This isn't a great depiction right now because I need to wash my hair. It's been a couple days now, so I'm due for a wash. I think that this cleans my hair really well. I do think that my hair feels stronger and smoother and healthier, but I will say, guys, that this is mainly protein. So if you are someone that needs moisture in your hair, I don't think you'll like this. Just know that this has protein, and the reason why protein is really good for the hair is because it essentially will strengthen the protein bonds within each strand of hair, thus making it stronger, thus causing less breakage and less hair fallout. So essentially your hair is staying on your scalp for longer. If you tend to have very thin, very fine, brittle hair, you know, you may find that it'll make your hair a little bit more straw-like. If that's the case and you still feel like you want to use something with protein, make sure that you use a moisturizing, like deep conditioning mask at least once, maybe twice a week, just to give your hair that moisture that it might be craving. But otherwise, if you are someone like me where your hair can take the protein and it kind of just like eats it up and adds a little bit more dimension, I think you will like this shampoo and conditioner set as much as I do. All right, guys, that is everything for this video. I hope that you found it helpful. Let me know if you guys have used any of these products and all of your thoughts on them. And let me know in the comments down below if there's anything else that's new that you want me to pick up. I am definitely eyeing the Fenty Beauty summer collection, like those liquid liners, the cheek flushes or the cheek highlighter blushes, you know, like those new ones that came out. But anyways, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found it helpful. helpful. If you did, please make sure before you go to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And as always, I will have all the products that I talked about today down below in the description, as well as tagged in the YouTube shopping. Of course, you guys should not feel obligated to have to use any of my links. However, if you do, I truly appreciate it because it allows me to continue making these videos for you, and it's a free way for you to support my channel. All right, guys, I will see you in my next video. Bye.